Hello, everyone. Right, so today we're talking about this book, Somewhat Almost Rare. I say almost rare is by Freehands Press, which basically means you ain't gonna get one of these for like a tenner. Okay, this is the cheapest edition of this book, which is the trade edition. Magic Circles in the Grimoire Tradition. And I've got a couple of these from Freehand Press. They're very fancy, very nice little hardback books. And this ain't really a book review, so whether you buy it or not, I don't care. Rush out and buy it, don't buy it, I don't know. Instead, what I'm going to talk about, as opposed to the actual specifics of the book, because if you really want to know what the book's all about and if it's any good, the only way you can do that is to go and read it yourself, really, isn't it? So, what I'd like to talk about is magic circles in the Grimoire Tradition, and that's the name of this book. So, I thought talking points wise might be quite a good thing to go on. In the introduction to this book, I thought that it's quite a nice little one to share. So in the introduction, there's this specific little thing I'm going to read to you now, because it concerns grimoires. You know grimoires? These things? Yeah. That one's probably the more famous, Lesser Key of Solomon. These books, the idea that grimoires are almost like those GCP books that you'd used to get for school, GCSE at school, where they put the curriculum down, you learn it through revising for your exams and stuff. Basically, that they are kind of like books with the curriculum in, i.e., grimoires teach a magical system, okay, a system of magic. And often the definition people use for grimoires is very much that, and I disagree with that. And I think in this book, it probably illustrates the point as to why. Grimoires are special manuals of occult practice wherein the kernel of magic art is recorded for the convenience of the initiated practitioner. Although magicians were the primary owners of these books, there were others putting them to use as well. Blah, blah, blah. The bit that stands out is initiated practitioners. Okay. Now, if I was to give you a formula to make, I don't know, a salve or something like that, yeah? Herbal salve. Maybe the formula for Coca-Cola, yeah? Something like that. Just because you have the formula does not mean that you then know the process or really what you're doing at all. You just know kind of what is going in it, right? This is almost the same. So within these grimoires, you have what seems to be a process and a practice. It says, say these words. It says, draw this thing on the floor, conjure this spirit into this here triangle. Not that it really explains what the triangle is, but all of this. It is like William in this book says, it's abbreviated. So it is for the convenience of the initiate. The initiate is someone that knows. Initiate equals I know, right? Go and read a book. It could be, we talked about herbal medicine, but you can literally get any book and get one that's not a beginner book, but one for someone that's very, very, very far down that path. Get some advanced book on chemistry, and you won't have a fucking clue what it's talking about because you're uninitiated. You're not a chemist, are you? You don't have that knowledge that you've built up to. This is much the same with grimoires. Now, a lot of people get confused because they get the grimoire and then they'll try to do everything that the grimoire says. And most of these grimoires are cobbled together, pieces of trash that have kind of got translated and retranslated and combined together numerous times. So whether they'd actually work if you do the full rituals and stuff like that are in them, I personally would say it's not a very good idea, not just from an ethical perspective, but because it's a pain in the ass. I mean, if you had to go and make this out of lead, get a sword, you know, go on the specific days of the week, the month, of the bloody year. I mean, am I really going to wait 4 or 5 months to do a ritual? Am I really going to be doing all of this preparation work? I ain't, no. And I could potentially get a lot better results than someone that would go along that process. Now, within this whole ceremonial magic trope, the certain things stand out. One of the things that very much stand out is the magic circle, and one of the things I want to talk about today is the magic circle, because people really don't have a clue what it is, and yet they use them all the time, but they don't really know the secrets of the magic circle. I've done a video in the Witchcraft Live Facebook group about this, and I used little statues that I used to collect of Gromit from Wallace and Gromit, and I was explaining the difference between a ceremonial magician's magic circle and this whole consecration of one of these Wiccan calling in the elements type circles. It's a very different process, completely different reason for using it. Today we're focusing on the magician's magic circle. There are many examples of magician's magic circles, but they're then things like what you stand in and then conduct yourself like you're in charge of an orchestra and expect all these spirits to show up. Fancy ones drawn on the floor and that, or some people, I do believe, have even got like little rugs and things like that that they roll out. But there are a number of kind of examples of magic circles, but they're normally those things like what you stand in. There's a nice example. And I'm not going to say that this is a bad book, but what I am going to say is that nothing I say here and now is going to be in this book. So if you're hoping that you're going to get some occult gnosis from me today, hopefully you will. But if you think that this is stuff that I've learned from this book, and that if you really want to go over it in a little bit more detail, maybe you should buy this book, then the answer is no, because what I'm going to tell you, unfortunately, is not found really anywhere in this book. There's another nice example. I've used magic circles before when I'm working with I was going to say plebs, mundanes. That's it, mundanes, because you got I mean, a little bit of ritual theatre. Come on, the mundanes love it. So we've got this idea, magic circle, drawn on the floor, and most people tend to see it as a system of protection. Okay, so you're consecrating this circle, this special space, sacred space. And then you're normally, when it comes to like Lesser Key of Solomon or grimoires like that, where you're conjuring up spirits and demons and daemons and all sorts, then they think, yeah, most of these sorts of books tend to threaten such spirits into doing their bidding for them. But even if you weren't to threaten the spirit and you were to go about a different approach, they still see it as these trickster, dodgy spirits that you might need a little bit of protection from. So they normally will utilize this thing called a magic circle, which you stand in, and it's almost like a force field, like on Star Trek, you know. Apparently the demons and such cannot harm you or interact with you when it comes to you drawing this little magical thing on the floor. Unfortunately, that's not true. And I want to talk about the ideas of how different people think about the magic circle and how it works, because no one ever talks about how magic works, do they? They all talk about go and do this, I've done that, but they never actually tell you how it's working or why. So with the idea that a lot of people have, because there's a number of ideas, I'm going to explain to you and share with you my ideas of magic circles based on my many lifetimes of working in the magic. That's probably one of the most famous ones there. I was trying to find it for you. It's got the triangle of art. So you stand in that, it's on the floor, and that's where the demons come. Yeah? So a lot of people's ideas of the magic circle is that you draw this on the floor and then you write these special, normally they're all Hebrew, aren't they? Hebrew names in them, right? And the Hebrew names are kind of like either you are tuning yourself to a specific energy current, okay, so elevating yourself, or they're seen as, well, I'm going to get these other spirits that are the good guys and they're going to protect me, even though I have never met them before. And, you know, I'm just going to trust it because it says in the book that they're goodies. Greater key versus lesser key type thing. That I'm going to call them in first and I'm going to create my circle with them, and they'll somehow innately protect me because I am just so awesome. Why would you not want to protect me, you know? There's that idea. And then there's the attuning yourself to energies idea, raising energies, that kind of thing. And then there's this idea of consecration of magical spaces. And then these ideas of words of power. I'm using words of power. It's kind of like that little Duracell bunny. A little bit of power there, a little bit of power there. Don't forget the south. Put a little bit of power there. And anything that comes near this little bit of power is going to be almost like when a sheep tries to escape a field with an electric fence. They're going to be zapped, right? That's a lot of people's ideas, which is complete and utter bullshit, if I'm honest with you. I've seen many spirits walk straight through magic circles. And also, what you have to remember with a lot of spirits is you're drawing this circle on this plane of existence, the mundane. Yeah? Maybe some people have got to the stage where they're doing both mundane work and astral work as well. If you get a spirit that really doesn't like you, maybe it might not target your physical body. Maybe it might not target your astral body. Maybe it'll target one of your other bodies, which your circle doesn't protect you from because it does not exist in that plane. You're a very complex thing. You, yes, you are very, very complex. Even the most dense of you, okay, even the real fuckwits, you're actually quite complicated beings. I'm not going to name names. Let's just go for all of you, our complex beings. And you've got to think about, how is this working? Now, I know that if you're picking up a grimoire from the first time, you're not going to be initiated. You ain't going to have a clue. So you're doing your best. Okay, I understand you're doing your best. You're trying to read what the grimoire says, but no one releases information like that. Well, I don't say no one. Very few people release information for a complete uninitiate, someone that doesn't know the mystery, someone that doesn't know magic, someone that doesn't know fuck all, can actually do it. Okay, now what an actual magic circle is, I wrote a blog about this many years ago now. It was a post about the aura and the magician's magical circle and that kind of thing, and it fell in on deaf ears for many people. They just didn't get it. Some of the people that were it screwed most people up were the ceremonial magicians, because they've been, of course, taught one thing and then they're having to relearn another thing because they've worked out that original thing that they learned is absolute bullshit. So the aura, what is the aura? The aura is the interception of all of your energetic bodies, okay, including the physical. When we look from a psychic perspective, we look at a person. Depending on what frequencies we are tapping into, and I use the term frequencies very loosely, but I'm trying to make it as generic as possible. Depending on what our psychic ability allows us to see, how clear our vision is, we will see things. Some people see colors and shit like that. Most people that see colors are the most inept, because they're the people that they see a little bit of haze and they don't really see a lot. They just say, oh, it's a bunch of colours. And I noticed that when that person's angry, they go a little red. They go red physically, but then they've just got red around them. And it's all, oh, yes, it's very new agey and mysterious. The aura is the interception, that crossroads of all of your energetic bodies. Okay, now sometimes when you look at people, because all of these I was going to say paradigms, all of these layers, dimensions are all stacked on top of each other. When you look through and see past the physical world, and you might see the astral, you might see other things, you're all seeing these kind of things from a mundane eyes anyway, as almost like one on top of the other, on top of the other, on top of the other, and they kind of, to a certain extent, don't fit perfectly on top. people can do work to make sure that they do kind of converge, but most of the time it's not. It's kind of like a camera effect, you know, where it kind of all goes shadowy and hazy, you know, that kind of thing. Now, the aura normally extends, like I said, it's not like perfectly in the body for most people unless they attempt and put some effort into doing that, retracting the aura, sealing it, armoring it up, right? Or projecting a false aura on top of that, which is some types of glamour magic. Now, when we're talking about this magic circle, that is in fact the aura. That's what we are talking about. You as a greater, the microcosm to the great macrocosm. Macrocosm being the big thing, micro being small, like a micro penis, right? Small. Yeah. You are the small microcosm that is a reflection of the macrocosm. Is this whole occult secret whereby actually you are Jesus. Like, we'll go into that on another day, but you know, you are part of the universe, therefore because you're a part of it you can affect it, right? Yeah, get that. The magic circle is the aura. When you draw that on the floor, you are symbolizing the fact that your aura is extending that and filling that space. That is your little kingdom. Okay, you're the center of that universe. Magic, right? When we introduce other energies into that aura, into your energetic component parts, guess what? That has a bit of an effect. Now, what were to happen, do you think, if you wrote a load of crap on the floor and stood in it, got some chalk, chalked it out, I don't know. Fuck all would happen. That's exactly what would happen. Nothing would happen. Probably nothing would happen, and you'd look like an idiot, which is what you get from most people that are learning ceremonial magic. They draw crap on the floor and then mutter a bunch of stuff, and then it doesn't happen, like you see them doing on Most Haunted occasionally, particularly on the lives. Nothing much happens. Maybe the slightest little spark, but realistically nothing. What happens when you're actually pulling in those energies? So if these specific words of power are linked to something, whether it's an energy, spirit or something like that, if you're pulling that in, if you're integrating that into your aura, what are the connotations of that? If that spirit is not a very nice, if you don't know what spirit that is, because you're just doing it because the book told you to, how on earth do you know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing? I've seen many magical practitioners that do know what they're talking about lie to apprentices and idiots to try and deliberately trip them up, right? To get them. In fact, some people have contracts in order to produce food for certain spirits, and certain spirits will do work for them. And one of the most brilliant ways of doing that is saying, tattoo this on you and it's protective, or do this on your magic circle and all that. It's like, oh my gosh, this is like, I think what they call affiliate marketing, you know? For every soul I get, for every budding young witch or magician I get, I'll grant you a wish. Right? So remember, if you don't take anything away from this, take away that the magician's circle is actually the aura, is the intersection, that crossroads of you as a greater thing. Okay, and you are commanding and pulling all of you, me, myself, and I, all of the yous, yeah? It's me, I'm in the circle, pulling all of the me's, the various different aspects of me all together and working as one, yeah? The throne, yeah? The solar, all of that, we're pulling it together and we are acting as one big, strong, powerful unit, okay? And you are in charge of that. Hence where the fucking power comes from. Yeah? If you're starting to pull in other shit, it's kind of like if I had, I don't know, a submarine, and all of a sudden I decided to, in my grimoire, submarine being the magic circle, I'll say, there's a Russian name here, and there's another Russian name, and then there's a third Russian name. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to call these Russians up and get them to come into my submarine. And I don't mean that in a dirty way, although that would be much more fun. You know, I'm just using Russians because apparently the Russians are the bad guys at the moment. You know, we got to go with what's current. It's 2022 for crying out loud. Imagine if we got all of these dodgy Russians, former KGB agents and such, all in our little submarine. They'd sabotage it, wouldn't they? They fucking would. They'd steal all the good bits and trash the rest. That's what they'd do. Commandeer it. That's how possession happens. Haven't really thought about that. A lot of these people that go casting these circles and that. If you want to cast a proper magician circle, look no further than the one you've already got. The one that you don't need to chalk on the floor and rub out after because the parents come in and they think, oh, Liam, he's been up to some random devil worship type stuff again. You know, don't worry about that. Your aura's permanently there, which means your magic circle is permanently there. If you want to draw a pretty pattern on the floor, then by all means draw a pretty pattern on the floor. The mundanes fucking go crazy for it. They love it. If you do magic with mundanes or do events and things like that, draw some pretty shit on the floor. I mean, they fucking, oh, they love it. But what we need to remember is your power is coming from you and drawing in other aspects of you. In order to truly hold that power, to be worthy to sit on that throne, you need to kind of understand what these energetic component parts are. The soul, of course, the soul. Okay? Yeah? So dispense with the magic circles and randomly carving shit into your arms and that, all these tattoos and pulling in energies. Stick to the energies that you currently know, okay? And by them I mean actually get friendly with them, you know, get to know them. Yeah, I don't start creating herbal products because we know I work with herbal products, make herbal products for people. I don't just get a bunch of books and say yarrow's quite good for that. How much yarrow have I got? I'll pour it in. What's that? I don't know. I'll pour that in. I think Scott Cunningham says that this is good for something as well. I'll pour that in. Bit of henbane? I'm sure it's all right. Pour it in and then make some sort of black evil salve or something like that, right? Chances are I'm probably not going to do that. Chances are I'm probably going to stick to the energies that I know and get to know them so that I understand actually what they're used for, like the herbs and that. I get to know the herbs, get to know the process, get to know all of that. I don't mean spending 10 years fucking getting to do it without you doing anything. But what I do mean is I mean by starting with your basic knowledge. So your basic knowledge going forward is that the aura is your magic circle. Your magic circle is permanently there. And all of the energies that you could ever possibly ever need to do something are actually extensions of yourself. And there are energies that are not extensions of yourself that you could also pull in. Planetary energies are probably one of the most safest ones to work with. Don't mean they won't whip your ass from time to time, particularly Mars. Boot up the ass, yes, but it'll be for your own good. So basically, don't be an idiot, be smart. There we go. I'm going to check to see if we've got any questions because there may be one or two comments, but I'm not entirely sure. Hello, good to see everyone. Okay. Right, I don't think we have any more questions. I don't think we've got any questions at all. But Mr. Chris has made an appearance, so maybe for the last 5 minutes we can get Chris's interpretation. Hello, Mr. Chris. I didn't see you there, and you didn't pop up. So
I didn't want to interrupt your flow, Liam. You sounded like you were on a roll.
Well, this was only supposed to get one specific key piece of information across today, so I thought we'd just make it half an hour. But I did quite like this book, and I will keep it. Not just because I can resell it for twice what I paid for it, but because I do kind of like the pictures, Chris. Do you ever buy books which you just kind of like the pictures?
Most of my books these days I buy off all the pictures.
I mean, what's not to like about that? Lovely.
But that's because they don't put good pictures in books these days.
Yes. So,
they like photographs, whereas I like a good diagram.
Oh, a diagram. Yeah.
A nice diagram or an illustration. I like an illustration.
There's a little illustration for you. Ooh. That looks bad.
Nice.
I'm starting to notice a lot of these things that when we get to the psychic fairs, you know, and they come to us and say, can I talk to you? I had this tattoo done. And since I had the tattoo done, my entire life's gone to shit. It's probably something like one of these or something. Probably one from the Lesser Key. I've had a couple of people that put things from the Lesser Key on them. They love to shove things like that on them. Can't get enough of it. It's always the same kind of type, you know. Don't mean to typecast. Well, I do. But no, we got 3 minutes left. What would you like to say about magic circles and the Grimoire tradition in general?
I've been having a bit of a fun time with it lately, to be fair, and dragging up a lot of these old manuscripts online because they're pretty. I haven't really learnt anything, but they are pretty.
They make you look proper educated if you've got that in
They
a
do.
notebook or something like that. Just get it
They
off the
do.
shelf or doodle it, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's good." The old cunning folk used to buy lots of books and things like that, even the ones that couldn't read, because it made them look more academically inclined and smarter. And let's be fair, even if you could read, it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to understand what the hell that grimoire says. So, magic books, in it.
Like magic books. But yeah, I'd suppose the bit that's kind of been getting to me at the moment is what mundane folk are, sorry, I don't really mean mundane. I mean the unmagically educated individuals actually do with them. Because looking at some of them, when they just read what it says on the page, it don't actually say anything.
No,
or do anything.
No.
Which I think was very much illustrated by that lovely TikTok I sent you yesterday, Liam, which I think you very much enjoyed.
That was quite good. I did like that TikTok.
It was good. It was good.
Maybe you'll have to share it in the Witchcraft Live group or something.
Yeah, I think so.
It does very much sum up a lot of my experiences with witches and magicians alike. But there we go. We've got to go now because I think we've got a consultation, if I'm not wrong. So we shall say a goodbye to everyone, and I'll wave. Goodbye, everyone.